Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis, and we've got your HCC news and information for the next half hour. It's June 30th, the last day of June. July is upon us. We are moving through this year. My co-host this morning, Dr. Tony Rayo. Good to see you, Tony. Well, your mic is off. Your mic is off. Can't hear you. Let's try it again.
Summer is here.
Yep. Summer's here and microphones work funny. So there you go.
Sorry.
Tony, you want to bring everybody up to date with our social media?
Yes, absolutely. We have social media for you guys to see us on: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Flickr, all of those things. And the neat thing is that you can see us live on both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. We're streaming live, so it's a fun thing. But just look for us at Houston Community College District, and you can find us there.
That's right. Okay, Tony, we've got a couple of special guests. One of them you'll be talking to. Lowell Hoffman is the Director of Quality Assurance at Restech Mediri, and he's also a graduate of our early weekend college. Good morning to you, Lowell. How are you?
He has the same problem I do.
Yeah, there he is. Good morning, Lowell. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're looking forward to hearing about the early weekend college and how that program helped you out. So stick around. We will be with you shortly. Dr. Tony will talk with you very shortly. So stick around. We're going to kick things off with a guest we have here a couple times a month. He is a former HCC student, a former graduate of HCC. He went off to medical school. Now he's a podiatrist out in the California area, in fact, the San Francisco Bay Area. And he joins us twice a month to talk about health and fitness. We're talking about the Doc-on-the-Run, Dr. Chris Segler. Chris, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. Hopefully I got my mic on this time. So
you've got your mic on, so you'll get a check there and a gold star at the end of the show. Hey, Chris, how's the weather out there in San Francisco today? I get the feeling, though, it's pretty much the same every day out there.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. You know, it was a little bit cold this morning, not so much like Houston. So it'll be really hot this afternoon. So it was, like in the 60s, I think, this morning, and it'll, be 100 this afternoon, but it'll be good. So.
That's right. You guys are having the heat wave, kind of like Houston weather. But hey, we've been talking about health and fitness on our show, and specifically getting people running out there, getting active, whether you run, walk, hike, just get out there and get active. And you've got some tips for them. One thing you're talking about this morning is a little training you can do on the side, outside of the running spectrum, something I don't do, but I'm open to. We're talking about cross training. Maybe you can talk to us and tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, so cross training is, something that can really help reduce your risk of injury because it lets you develop some additional strength that actually helps you as a runner maintain better running form, but it also simultaneously kind of gives you a little bit of a break from those muscle groups you're training all the time. And I really believe that many patients who call me for consultations, for telemedicine visits or whatever, wouldn't be calling me at all if they were just recovering a little more effectively. And part of that recovery process can actually be training in the form of cross training.
And so like if you run, say 5, 6, 7 days a week, would you suggest, can you overtrain doing all that running, even if you're running short distances without doing some cross training?
Yeah, so that's exactly what overtraining is. With overtraining, you're basically just stressing one piece of tissue a little too much and it doesn't recover fully before the next workout, and then it develops into an overtraining injury. So, we as runners, of course, feel like when we're running, we're doing the best exercise for us to make us stronger runners. But, it's a pretty simple thing. If you think about weight training, it's a very, very simple concept they have, right? Like if you go to the gym every other day or every day, maybe one day you do, something like bench presses, right? When you're doing bench presses, you're exercising your chest and you're exercising, so the front of your, torso, and you're exercising the back of your arms, the triceps. But then the next day, you may do something completely different so you're doing chest and triceps one day and back and biceps the other day, because those muscle groups work together with those movements. But that allows you, a full cycle of 2 days, basically to let those muscles recover and grow before you work them again. So you're going to the gym every day, but you're working different groups so they're not getting stressed. You can't do that when you run. If you run every day, you're working those same muscle groups and they start to get taxed. And even though you feel like you're working out and you're doing a lot, you're just training very specific groups that are doing a specific thing. And you're not really training so much those little peripheral groups, your core, all these other muscles that can actually help you maintain your fitness as a more efficient and more stable runner that's less prone to injury.
You know, one thing I've noticed when I'm running is I use my core a lot for strength. You know, I never thought long distance running would have such use of the core, but is cross training something you can do that can strengthen your core? Is that a common thing to use your core when you're running?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, your core stability is what actually gives you the most efficiency as a runner. It's not really just strength in those big muscle groups. You have to have a stable core. And so, you know, it's neglected a lot, I think, because it doesn't feel like the kind of exercise we enjoy. But doing, you know, planks or sit-ups or, you know, any of these other exercises that, you know, build your core, they really do help a lot. And, you know, my sister, who's been running marathons for decades, has told me over and over. Yeah, she says, you know, what she says is really interesting. You know, she's told me this over and over, that the times that she goes most consistently to the gym and does her routine that actually strengthens some of these peripheral groups and strengthens her core, that it just makes the Houston Marathon that much easier every time she does it. And yet, you know, it doesn't seem like real running exercise. I think that's why we tend to neglect it.
Yeah. You know, I hit the trails running just about every day. And that sister of yours you were talking about, she's always going to the gym and then wanting to run. And then she'll ask me every time, you want to go to the gym with me? You know what my answer is? No, I'm tired. I'm going to rest. You mentioned a few exercises, planking, sit-ups. What are some of the core strength or just really cross-training exercise that you would suggest to somebody who maybe not just wants to run, but they want to get active, maybe do some hiking and power walking or something like that?
Yeah. So, you know, cross training can be anything, and it's not a specific activity. So what it means is you're basically taking training from another sport and you're crossing it over into your routine to help you develop additional strength. Now, some, you know, simple things like planks, push-ups, sit-ups, you know, yoga, things like that, Pilates, all of those things are forms of cross-training. So is swimming, so is cycling. You know, these are things that you're not doing for your primary sport, but they're exercises taken from other sports that actually make you more stable. You know, from your Ironman training, you know, when you haven't been riding a lot and then you go out and you ride a whole lot, well, your back is sore, your core is sore in all different areas because you hold yourself up on the bike when you're changing position, all that kind of stuff. And it actually does, you know, train a lot of different groups. Same thing with swimming. Swimming, you know, you're doing a lot. You have to rotate to breathe. You're using lots of different muscles that you're not normally using when you're running. And even though you're building additional strength, again, during those periods, when you're cross-training, you're allowing those muscle groups that are getting beaten up all the time from all the running, they're getting a break and they're getting to recover.
And recovery is one of the key things. I mean, it's always good to have that rest. And from what you're saying, maybe you keep those runs down to 3 to maybe 4 days a week and sprinkle in a couple of cross-training sessions. When you're cross-training, I mean, are we talking an hour a day, half an hour a day? What do you suggest for those sessions?
Well, it depends on what it is. So, you know, for most things, I think, you know, and truthfully, part of the reason I say this is that I have, you know, all I do is talk to injured runners every day. And so I know that they're not doing cross training. So the fact is if, you know, if you hired a professional coach and your coach said, okay, Todd, 3 days a week, I want you to do 2 hours of cross training. That's going to be very, very difficult to fit into a routine. And it's going to be, you know, mentally, it's going to be very hard for you to do because you don't really enjoy it as much. And so I think that sticking with, you know, 30 minutes for most of the cross training activities is a reasonable goal. And if you're going to do cycling, well, cycling, you know, you've got to go a lot longer to get the same amount of workout. So, you know, maybe an hour of cycling, but otherwise, if you're going to the gym, you're doing weights, you're doing a yoga class, a Pilates class, or some home exercises like planks and push-ups and that sort of stuff, 30 minutes should be plenty. You know, and with weight training, truthfully, like you don't have to do bicep curls for 30 minutes to get strong biceps. You could do that in 5 minutes, you know, so.
You mentioned a long time ago, Chris, going back to biking, that cycling will keep you in running shape, but running won't keep you in cycling shape. Is that still true?
Totally true. So I've had lots of times where I did lots of running, then I would go ride with my cycling buddies who have very, very consistent routines, and they would just completely leave me behind if I get out of cycling fitness. However, I had a period where I was doing a marathon every month, and I was going to experiment. So I did 0 running for a full month. I did lots of cycling, and my next marathon was 1 minute different.
Wow.
0 running for a month. So I know that cycling is really effective at helping you maintain your running fitness, but it doesn't work in reverse. So, fortunately, we're talking about runners here, so it really doesn't matter that much.
Next time, Chris, I know you're a foot and ankle surgeon. So obviously, if you're going to run, if you're going to walk for great distances, if you want to be active, you got to keep your feet healthy. And you're going to talk about that next time on the show.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about some healthy tips for toenails, for runners in particular, because you don't really think about it that much. But I mean, I did a webcam consultation yesterday with somebody, just basically very minor activity, repeatedly hitting the nail on the inside of the shoe, didn't realize she was doing it. And now she's on vacation and the nail's starting to get lifted off the nail bed and separate. And this happens all the time. So it happens to everybody, these black toenails, discolored toenails, painful toenails. I mean, it doesn't seem very glamorous and it doesn't seem like a really interesting topic, but, it can really derail your training. And particularly if you wind up with a really painful toenail right before the Houston Marathon, this is not a good thing.
Yep. Toenails, you got to keep them healthy, folks. And Chris is going to tell us about that next time on the show. Dr. Christopher Segler, foot and ankle surgeon, former HCC. He's a HCC graduate, and he's known as Doc-on-the-Run. He has a newsletter, some podcasts out there, and some tips. We'll have his website and the social media posts for the show. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for joining us this morning.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Have a good one. Okay, we're going to get things back to Dr. Tony. Tony, you were going to bring back in Lowell, who is our special HCC guest, and he's a former student here.
He's our former weekend college student. So we're going to learn a little bit about what weekend college is all about. Mr. Hoffman, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be invited.
So as you said, you're the Director of Quality Assurance at Restech Maderi. And you were one of the very first ones that went through our weekend college program in 2018. So what's different about the weekend college? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when you have a full-time job, it's kind of hard to go to school full-time. So the weekend program, you have 8-week-long classes. So you can just take 2 classes at a time, and you can take 4 classes in one semester. So you're actually going to school full-time, but it feels like you're only taking 2 classes at a time. So it's manageable. And you go on Saturdays in the morning, then you get a lunch break, and then you go in the afternoon. So you take 2 classes. And in between, you're starting off with this a group of students, and you're kind of going through the program with these students all the way through. So we'd go eat lunch together, we'd study together. It was a real college experience. I mean, I felt like I was like, I'm a full-time employee. I'm a father. And but when I was at school on Saturdays, I just felt like I was in a completely different world. We'd go eat pizza. I mean, it was like a lot of fun.
It's like a cohort of students that you go through this whole thing together, right?
Yes, it is. It is.
Wonderful. And the good thing too is that you can work. You don't have to stop working. It's just on weekends, right?
Yes. And the way the class is structured, it's a hybrid program. So you take 3 hours of lectures on the Saturday, but then during the week you log into the computer and then you do your homework assignments. You get your syllabus. It's like a regular class, but you get to experience being there with other students and having a professor. And then you also go home and during the week when you have time, you make time to do that. And it's a good structure. And really it helped me through that program to be able to go further on with the other college that I took, because it was set up exactly the same way. So I was used to it. Then I see my sons that when we went through COVID, they had to have that same kind of structure, except they didn't even get to go see the professor they did the online classes. So it was a struggle. My older son that was at Texas A&M, he did good with it. My younger son was in high school, and he did good with it. He made good grades and everything, but it's a little bit different because he was looking at his little cell phone. He was in bed with his little cell phone. I was like, how much can you learn, doing that? But what I was doing, I had a little room. I had my computer with 2 monitors. I had a quiet place. I had the support of my family, and I was able to just get everything done.
You went to Texas A&M also, right?
I went to the Texas A&M in Texarkana campus, and it was an online program as well. And so there's a couple of colleges out there that offer an online, University of Texas Tyler and Texas A&M Texarkana. There's a Commerce, Texas A&M Commerce. And then there's one down in the valley, Texas A&M down in the valley, that does an online for criminal justice and things like that. So there's a lot of choices to get your final degree. And, you don't have to just be locked into, like a college that maybe won't transfer as many credits. I shopped around, and I got accepted to 3 different colleges after I got my core credits through the weekend program. And I was accepted at all 3, but I chose Texas A&M Texarkana because they gave me the most credits for almost every Houston Community College class I took. They found a way to plug that in, so I got credit for it. And then I had also had an associate's degree from a technical college, and they gave me a few credits from that as well. And then I was actually able to test out of a few classes like speech and things like that, because there were some tests that I took. I wrote some papers. And so from start to finish, from start of the weekend program at Houston Community College until I graduated from Texas A&M, it took me 3 years.
Because, that's wonderful.
Because the classes are only 8 weeks long. So
I was going to say, Dr. Peters, I think, is head of that, right? And how did she help you with all of this?
Oh, she was golden. I would not have been able to get my degree without her, because she paved the way. She made the schedule. She listened to us when we were having some issues. We'd have professors that were used to teaching, different styles. And then so when they came into this program, she had to work with them to get them to understand, what this program was about. And so she helped me from day one. Like I said, when you go to college and you're right out of high school, you're expected to kind of find your own way. But when you're a little bit older and, it's hard, you only have like one shot to kind of get this thing done, And so meeting with somebody like Dr. Peters in the weekend program, where it's designed for adults to go back and get their degree, and then her working with you to get your goal. I didn't take one extra class when I went through the program. Everything was exactly what I needed. I did graduate with 199 college credit hours, but that was just because I attempted to go to college a few times, throughout my adult life, and each time I'd maybe take 1 or 2 classes, and then I'd kind of just, life would just get in the way. But with this weekend program, I was able to focus and get straight through it. And then when I went to Texas A&M, I had a advisor there, and she was Rachel Cherry. She was able to pick up exactly where Dr. Peters left off, and she made me the schedule, and I was able to just plow right through that schedule. And if it wasn't for those two, I don't know, I probably wouldn't have finished.
Well, tell me, I think I understood that you started going back to college at the age of 45. Is that right?
Yes.
So what made you want to go back to college?
Well, there was a few things. My dad had mentioned to me on his, before he passed away, that I didn't get my degree, and I was a little hurt by that. My feelings got hurt a little bit by that. But it was something that was planted in my brain. And then I had another uncle that on his deathbed, he kind of told me, he's like, Lowell, I wish I lived a better life. And so those two things planted in my brain. Hearing people talking about their experiences in college and them having degrees, as they start talking, I start feeling like smaller and smaller and smaller, and so it was just a bad feeling. So I really wanted to go back and get my degree, but what really kicked it in gear was Victoria. She was a baby that my wife and I had, and she was like 1 year old. And then I have a son, two sons. One son was getting ready to go to Texas A&M, and my other son's 3 years behind him. So one's already a junior at A&M, and the other one's a senior in high school. So I knew I had to pay for 2 colleges up front, and I knew I had another 20 years worth of working in the workforce. And honestly, having an associate's degree and 10, 20 years experience was enough to get me where I was at. But when the shift happened, when the next generation went out there, they started requiring that degree to so the job that I had in the oil and gas industry, I didn't even qualify for it. If I would have just left that day and reapplied, I wouldn't have been able to get my own job because I couldn't check the mark of having a degree. Wow. So all these things kind of were floating in the air. And then really also helped me is that test that you have to take to get into college.
SAT or yeah.
Was it the TSI?
Oh, that one, yes.
That one. And so, it's been so long since I've been out of school. And so I started studying. I went on to the HCC website. They have all these practice tests and everything that you can take. And so I got prepared for it. But then when I went to go talk to the counselor to get me in, she said that, I told her I had an associate's degree. So she just checked the mark and I didn't even have to take the test. So after that, I was
there you go.
Flying eagle after that.
Very good. So now you work for a medical company, right?
Yes.
And that's the thing that you wanted to do. So you made your goal, right?
Yes. Because I've been in the quality management supervisor positions for the last 20, 30 years. And I've always wanted to get up to that director level. And so at the time I was working in the oil and gas, but I've always wanted to be in the medical industry. And through a friend who met this group here that I'm working for, Restech, he recommended me for the job because they were telling him what their needs were. And he said, I have somebody for you. He gave him my name. I came and interviewed. And so it was it was a dream. It was a dream. I love the oil and gas industry because there's so much camaraderie. I love the people that I worked with, but when the price of the barrel goes down, the jobs go away, and it's torture to see people getting laid off. But so I wanted a little bit more stable atmosphere to work in, and plus I want to help people. That is one thing in the leadership program that I learned at Texas A&M that like the millennial generation, they want a job that they feel like they're making a difference, and so it rubbed off on me. I was like, man, I want to make a difference too. But I've always wanted to be in the medical industry, and this company that I'm working for, they make a medical device that helps with reflux, and it was very personal to me because when I was a baby, I had reflux, and I had to have an operation to kind of help my tract out there. So it was just one of those things. Like this is what
fulfilling job, right? Yeah. Absolutely.
Every time I talk to somebody about it, they say, I have reflux, so almost everybody that I talk to about my job, I have reflux. So.
Well, what is your advice to other adults who want to find their dream job and want to better themselves by going to college? What are some things that you advise them about?
Well, the thing is, you really have to have an incentive. Without an incentive, when the times get rough, it's gonna be hard to keep persevering. So you have to have a deeply rooted incentive. Also, you have to humble yourself because pride doesn't get degrees. You have to have a very humble spirit. You got to take one step at a time, and if you do that, you'll make it through. But then also, the HCC weekend program, if you get in touch with Dr. Peters or Christy, they'll set up a schedule for you. They'll find out where you're at with, you might have a few college credits already. So they can plug you into their system. And when they do that, you'll be able to, you'll have a pathway to be able to reach your goal. without that, you kind of fall off. Once you get into the program, you really get to know your fellow students, that
the straight pathway, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To success.
Yes.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Hoffman, for being with us and for being a good example for what the weekend college is all about. And if you're interested in going to the weekend college, we have some information that we'll put in our post right after the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Tony. And great interview. Certainly an inspirational story. And folks, the weekend college is available for you. We'll, as Tony mentioned, we'll have information in the social media post for the show. I've got joined by a special guest. Mila the Poodle had to jump
I
up.
like your guest.
Yeah, she's joining me for the rest of the show. Want to let everybody know, summer fun with student life. We've got a lot of activities coming up, including a Disney drive-in, which is happening tonight. That's right, 7 p.m., Wednesday, June 30th. They're going to be showing the movie Soul. Check your emails for more information on that and how to register. And we also have 4th of July celebration student life. We'll have a barbecue, music, fun events at several HCC locations this week. That's ongoing. Email Student Life for more details. We'll have their email in our social media post. And also keep in mind, HCC Student Life has a very active presence in social media. So you can find them on our district page. You can find them on their own Facebook page, but they'll keep you up with all of the information. Tony, you want to skip down to free haircuts because that's a big deal right now. And they're back at the Central Campus.
Absolutely. Free haircuts. I think I might go. At Central College, they have free haircuts. It's on Wednesdays at HCC Central. You go to the J.B. Whiteley building, but don't forget to take your ID with you because it's really for staff and for students, HCC staff and students. So go down there and get your free haircut. I can't ask for anything more.
Yep, that's right. Absolutely free. Okay, need a new skill set? HCC is part of Texas's Reskilling Grant program. It's a program dedicated to providing support to displaced Texas workers who've been impacted by COVID, who also need to learn or develop further skills to return to the workforce. For more information, you can go to their website. It's hccs.edu/Texas-reskilling. We'll have that link in our social media post. And let's skip down to the Earn Your Degree for Free because that's an important program as well.
Absolutely. Earn your degree for free. How is that possible? Well, it can be with the Eagle Promise dollars. If you have the federal and state grants, scholarships, but all that, they never give you exactly enough to completely cover everything. And then there's always books and so many other things that just eating that you have to do while you're going to college. So the Eagle Promise dollars is a special type of scholarship that will help you with all the other debts, et cetera, the finances that you have to come up with. And you go to hccs.edu/freedegree, which sounds really good.
Yeah, it's very easy. So make sure you check it out. You do have to qualify, so make sure you sign up in order to get more information on that. Okay, fall enrollment is underway right now through our website. Also, you can go to campuses in person. We've got a big event happening on July the 10th where you can go to 5 different HCC campuses. You can meet with advisors. You can meet with in financial aid, enrollment, and you can get enrolled for the fall. But you can also enroll online. We have 5 ways of learning. Some of them are online, some of them are hybrid, and in-person classes. They're taking place on campuses right now, and they certainly will be in the fall. Go to hccs.edu/now to register. Okay, Tony, tomorrow we got a couple of special guests on the show.
One of them is Ruben Duran. He's been there before. He's going to talk to us about the XR Lab and Studio. Everything is about AR and VR now. What is it? Artificial reality, virtual reality. Don't ask me the difference. I don't know. But Ruben can tell us, and he'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, and tomorrow is also Virtual Family Fun Day with Sheila Wright of the Discovery Green location. We'll have her on the show. So make sure you join us. Dr. Tony will be back. I'll be back tomorrow. Mila, she's going to take a break tomorrow, but we'll see all of you 10 a.m. live right here at Up to the Minute. Say bye.